disaster relief funds used on immigrants illegally in the U.S. The fact is, no money is being diverted from response needs. That's the fact. Misinformation, disinformation is indeed dangerous. It gets in the way in what we're trying to do here.
What an odd thing to say.
And welcome back to the project. What do we got going on today? DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, and the way they're coming after our government spending. And it is unfolding as we speak. Every day there's something new. And as you heard from our ex-press secretary, hey, misinformation, that's bad. Really? You think so? Oh my God. Anyways, that being said, they tell us that there's nothing wrong when in fact there is something going on. And we have the facts to prove them now. And all these Democrats are melting down, going crazy, panicking, burning hard drives. God knows what they're doing, but they're doing it. And they want to talk about transparency, right? All the time. How they want the Republicans to be transparent and how Trump is not a transparent person. He's a liar. He's a felon. He's a criminal. But yet all these people speaking are doing the same thing that they're accusing Trump of doing, but worse. Oh my God. I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. I have done research for the last few days on this whole thing, and I can't keep up with it. But I pulled some clips up for you guys so we can discuss and see how this thing is going and how it's unfolding. So this clip I'm about to play is on Fox News, and Jesse Waters is talking to a whistleblower from the USAID department.
That much money that goes back to the people running the subcontractors?
Well, I have to say, I want to be careful that this is a classic case where we want to avoid throwing the baby out with the bathwater. USAID does save babies. That said, it does. The studies show that up to 7 million children have been prevented from being born with HIV by giving drugs to HIV-positive mothers while they're giving childbirth. And that's a wonderful thing. That said, there is tremendous waste within the aid industrial complex. This is well known. It's been well documented. And it's probably not unique to USAID. It's probably true across the federal government, in which most contractors charge overhead that is beyond what any reasonable business would consider appropriate. And therefore, the American taxpayer does not get the return on investment that we expect.
Yeah, so we want to save babies from getting AIDS in Africa. And that's still going to happen once they look at everything and get this thing streamlined. But you're a Democrat, and you raised this issue at USAID, and you were punished for that, weren't you?
That's exactly right. So I was elevated to be the acting deputy chief of staff of the Global Health Bureau during COVID, and I immediately observed incredible delay and arrogance on the part of career bureaucrats who I fought and frankly cleaned up their mess. And instead of being appreciative that we avoided an embarrassment, I was retaliated against. I had to sue them under the Whistleblower Protection Act, which is detailed in my op-ed. And then they proceeded to botch 10 times more money. I should add, this was under the career bureaucrats. There were political appointees like our recent assistant administrator, Atul Gawande, who did a good job of streamlining bureaucracy. And that's where there are important programs that I'm concerned are going to be thrown out with a bureaucracy that has grown over 6 decades without enough accountability. There have been efforts to reform it, not successful. And so I hope that this can be an act of creative destruction, which is a good thing, instead of just total destruction, which would be the concern of overreach.
Well, okay, and I'm sure it will be, because no one wants to see dead babies in Africa if it just costs a little bit to save them. We want to save everyone we can, but we have to save people here too. Why aren't Democrats saying, yeah, you caught us, $2 million for sex change surgeries in Guatemala, maybe not the best use of American tax dollars? Why don't they just say that?
You'll have to ask them. What I would say is under Republican administrations, agencies can pivot to support those priorities, and under Democratic administrations like the last one, you would see that. I should say those are problematic examples. They're a relatively small amount compared to say, the efforts to prevent babies from dying. But I will also say there were other programs like the Global Health Supply Chain Program that was audited for incredible
Well, I mean, listen,
waste and corruption.
you're saying all these things about these babies, and I want to believe you, but then when you look at the numbers, only 10% gets to the babies. The rest of it just goes to salaries. How do you justify that?
I don't, and that's where reform is needed. At USAID, it's great to start there, and I think across the federal government, there are many government contractors that are taking far more of an overhead than is appropriate, and it is, everybody knows this within foreign aid, and it needs to be reformed, and I'm glad it's being approached.
All right, well, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
As you heard, some of this money does help out people. You know, we help everybody. We try to help everybody anyways. But the majority is to pay themselves, enrich themselves, and fund unnecessary, I don't even know how to say it, programs or, look, the whole thing looks like a cover-up. It looks like they're laundering money. This is probably the biggest scandal since Watergate, Ill Wind, which is I think in 1984, which is something similar to this. They're trying to enrich themselves and, you know, have a big cover-up. But things only last so long. You can only get away with things so long until you get caught. And this is what's happening. And what are they doing? Elon Musk is not certified. He is not valid, he wasn't validated. He wasn't elected. Yeah, well, all those people that work in that department, neither were they. They're government employees. The only people that get elected is Congress, Senate, the President of the United States, and the Vice President. He is an employee, and he is doing his job, and he has the clearance to do so. I'm going to play a clip right now, right? Because there's people going around making videos, not only the Democrats themselves that are trying to fool you that he's going to stop Social Security. Do not by any means believe that, all right? The Treasury Department and the USAID Department are two totally different things. So I'm going to play this clip, and I want you to hear this.
Elon Musk, who nobody voted for.
Nobody voted for anybody in the executive branch except for the president and the vice president. There are about 2.2 million civilian workers in the executive branch, and 2 were voted for.
And the Department of Government Efficiency, that is not actually part of the government.
The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, is part of the government. While Donald Trump cannot unilaterally create a new federal agency with an executive order, he can rebrand an existing federal agency that is already funded, and that's what happened here. DOGE is a rebranding of the United States Digital Service, which was an agency created in 2014 during the Obama administration, and Trump adjusted its mission a little bit, but the dollars were already there. The president does have executive power to rebrand or rename agencies, move agencies in between different departments, adjust the mission of agencies, and also create temporary task forces to run agencies or be a part of agencies, which is why Trump has the authority to appoint Musk in a temporary task force within DOGE.
Has full access to the Federal Reserve payment systems, the federal treasury.
This shows that you don't really know what you're talking about, because the Federal Reserve System is not the same thing whatsoever as the Treasury Department's payment system, and DOGE has only been given very partial light access to the Treasury Department's payment system. The Federal Reserve System handles things like interbank transfers and EFTs and check clearing and make sure those go through well. The Treasury Department handles incoming and outgoing payments, payments to contractors, Medicare, Social Security, payments to federal employees. So no, they're not the same thing at all, and DOGE has not been given access to both of them. In fact, the access that DOGE has been given to the Treasury Department's payment system is basically 2 employees who have read-only access and are able to pass data about payments to DOGE.
System that controls payments through Medicare, Social Security, government contracts. Seem to remember Elon being the beneficiary of a lot of government contracts, but always wanting more anyway.
Yes, the federal government gave out almost $1 trillion in federal contracts last year, and a very tiny small percentage of that went to some of Elon Musk's companies, primarily SpaceX, because SpaceX is doing things technologically right now that no other company in the world is capable of pulling off. So Space Force is bringing SpaceX along to, for example, track ballistic missiles that might be coming at the United States. So no, SpaceX is not stealing money from other contractors who might be able to do the same thing. There's no one that can do what SpaceX is doing right now.
Wouldn't it be nice if he could just access those systems and withhold payments to his competitors, divert those funds to himself?
Yeah, it's fun to push conspiracy theories to your followers when they have no basis whatsoever in reality. Wouldn't it be fun if Elon could just go and push some buttons and divert some federal funds to his own companies because he has access to do that now? He doesn't have access to do that now. In fact, Elon himself can't even look at the Treasury system. He himself does not have access. There are 2 employees based in the Treasury Department who have read-only access, and they can pass some of that data to Doge for government efficiency purposes. Elon has no ability whatsoever to divert funds or move funds or stop funds to Social Security. This is absolutely made up for clicks and attention.
Guys, what we have going on right now is a coup.
What we have going on right now is a 60-second video of fear-mongering from you that is mostly made up and rife with misinformation. Now, you can legitimately criticize Doge, and you can legitimately criticize some of the access that Elon Musk has been given. But what you can't do is make things up and lie to make your side look better than it is. Now, I myself have significant problems with some of Elon's actions and some of the access that he's been given. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and lie to my followers and say that he can divert federal funds to his own companies when that's obviously not true. Or try to say that Doge is an illegal shadow agency that's not really part of the government when that's also not true.
Donald Trump is not the president. Elon Musk is operating a shadow government. He has subverted the entire governmental apparatus of the United States. It is not hyperbole to say he has taken over this country.
This is hyperbole with no basis in reality, but sadly many of your followers and viewers will believe this because they will not do any research of their own.
So what did you guys think? The left keeps pushing their agenda that they're perfect. They don't do anything wrong. They're doing everything by the book. Golly gee. Right? And what do they keep feeding us?
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
That's exactly what they're feeding us. Taste the biscuit. I don't know what that was about, but that's what they're funding. No, they're not. I made that up. I just thought it was a funny thing to throw it in there. But might as well, right? I'm going to play a clip of where FEMA is sending our money, right? In the beginning of this video today, the press secretary, the ex-press secretary, was saying that these funds were not going to immigrants. Okay? Check this out.
How much is rent here?
Free. 2 years.
After 2 years, we have to pay the rent.
All right, y'all, this is Savannah Hernandez in Brunswick, Maine, reporting to you from the apartments where migrants are getting their rent paid for up to 2 years. Now, I wanted to give you guys a first inside look at these units. The migrants shared with us that they come furnished, so they have a flat screen TV in there, couches, tables and chairs, a bed. We also asked them as well, hey, are you paying utilities here? They shared with us that nope, they do not have a water bill, they do not have an electricity bill.
And what about the light and the water?
Everything is good. We don't pay anything.
Now, I wanted to focus in on this area of Maine because there is a housing crisis going on currently for residents, and these buildings were initially created for Maine residents, but then it was decided that homeless migrants would be living here. Now, as an American, you can rent out one of these units, but a 1-bedroom is going to run you about $1,800, and a 2-bedroom is going to run you about $2,300. By the way, the average housing price for a house over here in Brunswick is about $480,000. So there was obviously a lot of outrage when it was first discovered that migrants were going to be housed here for free on taxpayer dollar. Now, I wanted to focus in on Brunswick as well because this is the same county that has received FEMA funding from that same program that spent almost $1 billion through the fiscal year of 2023 and 2024 on sheltering illegal immigrants throughout the United States of America. By the way, FEMA coming out and saying that they have run out of that funding.
We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
This is why I wanted to come up this way. This is why I wanted to come to Brunswick, because I wanted to show you guys a comparison of how the federal government is treating American citizens versus illegal immigrants and migrants in this country. This is how.
That was the last administration. We don't have the money. We don't have the funds. Meanwhile, this is what they're doing. We have to help our own people before we help anybody else. Am I against deportation? It's a touchy subject. I'm Mexican American. I have, parents that were brought down here when they were kids, and, their family went through a lot. So I understand. Trust me, I understand. I don't want criminals here, and of any kind, coming into our country, and then we have to fund them, let them stay here for free, give them money. No, it doesn't work that way. Not all immigrants are bad. And should they be housed? Yeah, I agree that I think the hardworking ones and the people that are really struggling, I think that we should help them. I do. But to some extent, right? Because we have people here that have fought for this country that are sleeping in the street, that can't get housing, that can't get funding. And it's hard for them. I was watching something not so long ago. I can't find the clip. It was actually about 6 months ago. There was this woman who, was in the service, and her dream was to have a food truck when she got out of the service. That's how she wanted to make her living. Well, it got to the point where it got bad, and she needed to sell her food truck, right? She tried to get a grant. She tried to get help from the government, who, she helped, who she was a part of, and they declined her. They said, no, sorry, we can't help you. And an immigrant, freshly here, been 2 months here, got a $160,000 loan to buy her truck. When she was talking to this person who wanted to buy her truck, she was like, were you born here? Were you raised here? Because obviously he had an accent, real heavy accent. He could barely speak English. Yeah, she had a translator. I think. I could be wrong. He was like, nah, I just came to this country and, they're helping me and I want to buy a truck so I can start my own business. She was outraged. Outraged. I mean, I would be too. That she dedicated her life to serve this country, and this is how she's getting treated. And that stuff right there, those things, that's what I don't agree with. So again, it's a touchy subject, and there's things I agree with and things I don't. And that's one of the things I don't agree with. We have to help our own people first. So if we can't help our own people, why should we be pulling money out or printing new money to help out other people? We're not gaining anything, right? We're just making this country worse than it is. Because if the employment rate is down right now, and they can't even hire Americans, how are we going to give work to these immigrants? Right? So you got to think about a lot of these things. But that's for another conversation, right? I wanted to show you this clip because, again, they're lying to us about where our money is going. We have no money when you do. Now, let's get into the real juicy stuff. Here's a list of some of the spending. Let's go through it. Number 1, $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. Number 2, $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. Number 3, spent $20 million on Alon Simsim, a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. Number 4, over 4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. Number 5, up to 10 million worth of USAID funded meals went to Al-Qaeda linked terrorist groups, the Nusra Front. 500,000 to a group that empowers women in an attempt to solve certain violence in Israel just 10 days before Hamas October 7th attacks. Number 7, award nearly 25 million to DLOET, promote green transportation in Georgia, the country. Number 8, 4.67 million to Echo Health Alliance, one of the key non-governmental organizations, funding bat virus research at Wuhan Institute of Virology in late 2021. Later refused to answer key questions about the funding. Number 9, 20 million for the Strengthening Transparency and Accountability Through Investigative Reporting Program, which used organized crime and corruption reporting projects as its implementing partner. The OCCRP was cited 4 times in the whistleblower letter that led to the Russiagate impeachment. Number 10, USAID's 2022 through 2030 climate strategy outlined a 150 billion whole of agency approach to building an equitable world with net zero greenhouse gas emissions. Number 11, 7.9 million to a project that would teach Sri Lankan journalists to avoid binary gendered language. Number 12, 1.1 million to an Armenian LGBT group. Number 13, 1.2 to African Methodist Episcopal Church Service and Development Agency in Washington, D.C. to build a state-of-the-art 440-seat auditorium. 14, 1.3 million to Arab and Jewish photographers. 15, 1.5 million to promote LGBT advocacy in Jamaica. 16, 1.5 million to rebuild the Cuban media ecosystem. 17, 1.5 million for art for inclusion of people with disabilities. 18, 2 million to promote LGBT equity through entrepreneurship in developing Latin American countries. 19, 2.1 million so the BBC can strengthen the media ecosystem in Libya designed to value the diversity of Libyan society. 20, 2.3 million for arsenal and small-scale gold mining in the Amazon. 21, 2.5 million to promote inclusion in Vietnam. 22, 3.9 million to LGBT causes in the Western Balkans. 23, 5.5 million to LGBT in Uganda. 24, 6 million to advance LGBT in priority countries around the world. 25, 6 million to transform digital spaces to reflect feminist democratic principles. 26, 6.3 million to men who have sex with men in South Africa. Oh my God. 27, 8.3 million for USAID education, equity, and inclusion. 28, another 16.8 million to separate group in Vietnam for inclusion. So out of this whole list, what's the majority of things you're hearing? LGBT. So is this department being run by woke people or the LGBTQ community? I am not by any means insinuating anything. I'm just looking at the facts and what it looks like. It looks like it's being ran by the Alphabet Mafia. Again, I'm not insinuating anything. That's just what it looks like. There's other reports too that they sent $50 million in condoms to Gaza. Isn't Gaza at war or are they having an orgy? Anyways, supposedly that they're using them to put bombs in them. I don't know. But the list goes on and on and on. And meanwhile, they're out there saying that Elon Musk is stealing your money. He doesn't want to pay you Social Security. They're panicking. So they're going to come up with anything and everything they can to stop you from believing what's unfolding as we speak. And as this video is going to be edited and later on put on YouTube, there's going to be more things that I have not talked about because, again, this is an ongoing investigation.
Bothered by the fact that Elon Musk is attempting to expose all of this fraudulent spending. What is that about? What is the problem here? What is the problem with transparent? Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Senator Warren, I just want to answer a question. How did you get a $12 million net worth on a $200,000 salary in Congress?
Thank you.
How did you do that?
Excuse me.
How did you do that? You can keep trying to block my camera. We're on a public sidewalk, so get off of me. So you don't want to answer that question. What is it about Doge that's such a problem to you? You just elbowed me, Senator. I got that on camera.
Excuse us. Thank you.
Transparency is your enemy.
That was Elizabeth Warren. And whereas Trump calls her Pocahontas. Lies, lies, lies. And she's always the one right there on the front lines, talking bad about Trump and accusing him of things that he hasn't got charged for yet, right? It's just, again, I don't even know what to say with this video. So what's next out of all this? Well, we're finding out every day as it unfolds. I'm finding out just as much as you are. I'm just trying to piece together as much as I can so you guys can, see what's going on and how it is affecting everybody. This one actually got me pretty riled up because where are we headed in this country? It's divided enough. And now all these things are coming out and you guys can't handle it and just say, hey, we did it. We messed up. Take it. You know what I mean? Take it. But they can't. They're going to fight tooth and nail to deny everything. But I'll tell you this, as this all unfolds, a lot of people are going to go down. A lot of people. I would be surprised if half the government goes down, Republicans and Democrats. But all this spending, we know where it's coming from, and it's not coming from the right. It's coming from the left. Oh, my God. Well, that's all I got today for the project. And again, taste the biscuit. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow, tell your friends, leave a comment. And remember, taste the biscuit. I'm out.